Ay, ay. Look. I'm too cool for the rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Look, Papa don't preach, teachers don't teach. Gon' reach, that's facts. I ain't worried about none of that. I'm making that cash day. Bunch of O's like NASCAR, but it's really more like NASDAQ. Why they thinking that they hot when they really more like Quarter on me like a referee. Hating what they'll never be. Small top with a big bottom, yeah, shorter shape like a letter D. Let her have it, then I let her be. If you love it, gotta let it grow. Crazy cause you really never know. When I'm hurting, never let it show. I'm a two-tone, two-phone, two-chain, new thing, lane whipper, you a broke. Low class, no cash, certified lame. I've been getting to it like I ought to. Couldn't pick, so I bought two. Understand why your chick came, I'm just trying to figure why she brought you. I'm really reppin' and I'm flexed up, and I ain't gotta tell him I'm next up. Sleep on the they rest up, but I'm up and I'm getting my checks up. Me and the fellas be high as propellers, ain't could tell us we great. Looking at like how do you figure unless you could talk about 8 figures. I'm too cool for the rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Look how we litty, we turned up the city, we raising the bar height. I been finessing, just look at them stressing, yeah, they been up all night. Sipping this water with somebody's daughter, she take what I taught her and build on it. Came in this game on that today, ain't in a couple years later, we still on it. Be hating on it, be waiting on it like a new season. I bet an acre on it, I put some paper on it like I'm loose leafing. Buying them assets, build me a cash net I could fall in. Look at my last bet, ain't got a tiptoe, I'm all in. Think on a level that can't fail, and I roll me a J with the hate mail. Been doing good on the merch sale, all this bread on me look like a bake sale. Tell her your was really good, I be really good on a jaw jack. Send an email about the bread, I'ma hit you back with the call back. I'm too cool for the rules, baby, get off of me. Never need no push, I do it all for me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be. Too true for the flex, baby, don't cap to me. Drop 50, bring 150 right back to me. Keep a couple real hitters, got them on call for me. Money moving, got it in the market where it ought to be.
How's everybody doing this afternoon? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button for me. What's going on? What's going on this afternoon? Bruce Rag, New Jersey in the building. Great Polo in the building. Kevin Burch, Texas, OTRA. Back at it. ATL. Mike Finelli, Green. What's that? Greenville, South Carolina. Who else we got? Miguel Cruz. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Shout out to everybody that's watching on Instagram. Shout out to everybody that's watching on Facebook. Shout out to everybody that's watching on YouTube. If you are joining the stream on Instagram, make sure that you understand that Instagram only allows for me to stream an hour. So at the hour mark, if I'm still streaming and you still want to catch this information, you got to come on over to Facebook or to YouTube. So you're watching on Instagram, in an hour it's going to shut off. Then you got to come over to YouTube or Facebook. Fred, what's going on? Checking in from Florida. Cons Logistics, I believe, is up in Wisconsin. What else? Who else? It's D Walk. Shout out to all the moderators. Shout out to all the MGM gang members. Kevin Burr says, I like the new logo, Mark. Appreciate it. Yeah, we changing some things up, cleaning some things up, cleaning some stuff up. Got people cleaning some shit up, changing some things, introducing some things. So working on a lot of new stuff that I've been implementing in, that I've been working on for some months now. So the stuff is finally coming into fruition and I'm able to implement it. So yeah. Clarence, what's going on? Alabama. Andrew, Courtney Lewis, represent Houston. Happy holiday. Sharps, represent California. All right, so Blackjack Freight Mates checking in from Tallahassee. Excuse me. All right, so this is the one week episode that I do for the free coaching. Free questions, free answers, free coaching. This is that episode. I've been doing it about once a week. It's not scheduled. I pop up. I might do it in the middle of the night, may do it early in the morning, may do it in the middle of the afternoon. All right, because I don't want to get bombarded. Same as I always say. So this is the one for this week. I've had a few people reach out to me on Instagram, new entrants that are coming into the business that, don't have, coaching money or whatever. So I say, I always do a free one every week. So you got to catch me. It's not planned, it's whenever, so this is the one. So hopefully those people that have been reaching out to me that, need that help, but just don't have the capital to invest, now is the time. So now is the time. Tall Guy Don, what up, man? Ain't seeing you in a minute. Matter of fact, I have seen you. I just ain't seeing you on my channel. I see you tuning in on Kirk's channel. But what's going on? What's going on? How you doing? How was your holiday? Daryl Goody, what's up? Long time no see. I see when I go on different times of the day, I catch different people. A lot of people be working at night. So I'm going to start switching it up. I'm going to start doing live streams at different times. I might do some live streams in the middle of the night. I seen Kirk go live one day. It was 5 a.m. my time. So I might do a little 3 a.m. live stream one day. But what's going on though? So where to get good insurance for a 16-foot box truck? Get good insurance from a broker. You got to find you a broker. You have to find a broker. Brokers are always going to get you the best rates because there's a lot of insurance companies out there that you're not going to be able to deal with as a contractor on your own. A lot of these insurance companies won't deal with you. Like how you can go to Progressive and just deal with them directly, sit down at a computer and go through all the steps yourself. Some of these companies that you got to go through a broker. So your best bet is going to always get a broker. That way the broker can shop you, and once the broker gets presented with proposals from different insurance companies, they can present you with the best thing that may, meet your needs, and like I always say, you don't have to go with the same company for everything. You really got a good broker, he'll mix and match you. So you got to find a broker, man. You got to find a broker in your market. Find a broker in your market. Kelvin Burr said he's surviving the game. All right, so I got to look to multiple screens because Facebook and YouTube is streaming seamlessly from one screen, but then I got people on Instagram too on another screen. So the Instagram people, you got to put your questions in the chat over there. And then Facebook and YouTube, y'all can put y'all stuff over here and I'll see it pop up over here. Let me set my timer too, because I ain't finna be answering questions for 10 hours. Let me set my timer, man. Let me put me a little time up here real quick. You dig? Let's see. How long I want to do this for today? Let's see. Let's start, because I know sometimes I be, what time is it? 11:45, 12:45. So let's say an hour and 15 minutes. 1 o'clock. Let's put it over there. All right, boom. All right. How do I feel about hourly rate routes? What are you talking about? Box truck, cargo van? You know, it don't even matter. Hourly rate routes? Nah. I need either a per stop, or a flat rate, a guarantee or a per stop. Now, if you're doing courier work in a cargo van, you may not be able to get those options, so you may have to go per piece. So it kind of depends on what you're doing, if you're in a box truck or if you're in a cargo van. But I've never done an hourly rate, route. Most 3PLs, if not all of them, like, I've never even seen that option available for a logistics company, a 3PL. They give you, and the reason why they don't do that is because you're going to run into some challenges, especially if you're doing like furniture delivery or appliance delivery, big and bulky. There's going to be that one stop where, you thinking it's going to be a simple in and out sofa delivery or in and out, let's say, stove delivery, and you're going to have to go through all types of obstacles that you never known existed to man. And that one 20-30 minute stop, you think it's going to be 20-30 minutes. You get there, next thing you look up, you've been in an hour and a half. So this is why most companies don't pay that. As an owner, I wouldn't want to do that anyway. Give me the per stop or the per piece, depending on if I'm doing a courier job or a guaranteed rate. And then from there, I'll negotiate. It's easier to negotiate too, because if I get us to a stop, and let's say the scope of the job is a little bit more than what the POD or the manifest, I should say, states. Now I can negotiate with my operations supervisor for more money. Like, if you're getting paid by the hour, like, how do you negotiate? Like, I guess you can, but I've never run across that. So I've never run across an hourly delivery route. So me personally, I wouldn't take it. Give me a flat rate. I'm willing to deal with a guaranteed rate, because I know some days it's going to work in my favor and some days it may not. You know what I'm saying? But more days than not, a guaranteed route has worked in my favor in the past. There was days when I was running Office Depot, and days would be just normal days, but then there would be times like this, right, during the holiday for these 2-3 weeks right now, volume would be very, very low. So running a guaranteed route on a day like today for courier work is a win, because you may get 150 pieces, let's say, on a normal day. On a day like today, you may get 25 pieces. So if I got a guaranteed route at 300, and today is just one of those slow days because school is out, a lot of people on vacation, everything is slow, they still got to give me that guarantee. Now, there's going to be days where, that work is going to be harder, but me personally, I'd rather run with a guarantee. Because now I'm guaranteed to get my money. I know what I got coming in. Every single day. So it's more of a peace of mind to me. All right, let me look over on Instagram. Growth Mountain. Oops, let me pin that. Let's see, maybe I can pin it. Yeah, let's pin it. Growth Mountain says, continue the unselfish mentorship, Mark. I appreciate you, Growth Mountain Solutions. Appreciate you for tuning in. So if you're watching on Instagram, you got to drop your questions over there, and I'll look over to that Instagram screen occasionally to get those questions from over there. All right. I recently moved to Las Vegas, but my LLC is in California. Can I run a cargo van business in Las Vegas with my California LLC, or would I need an authority? So you need to check to see if Las Vegas it has their own in-state regulations. So if they got their own in-state regulations, then yeah, you're gonna have to get whatever Las Vegas state regulation is, right? So your DOT is gonna follow you anywhere. So if they don't require that for you to operate in Vegas, meaning they have their own regulatory department in Vegas, then you should just be fine with your just running your DOT over there. Now, if you're crossing state lines, then that's another thing. If you're running within the state and Las Vegas doesn't require their own, they don't have their own regulatory department, then you should be fine if you're going to run local. Now, I don't know about Vegas as far as regulations within the state. I know my state, you got to have an Illinois Commerce Commission authority. You know what I'm saying? My state regulates trucking within the state. I know Texas is another state like that, and there's some other states like that. So if Vegas is one of those states that has their own regulatory compliance, then yes, you're going to have to, go down there, apply, and get whatever state regulations it requires you to run within that state. So that's something that you need to check with your Las Vegas. I don't know what it would be called. Here it's called the Illinois Commerce Commission. So Las Vegas, it may be the Las Vegas Commerce Commission. I don't know. But check with your Secretary of State and see. Is renting a box truck a good idea? Is renting a box truck a good idea if you have capital? I think what you mean to say is renting a box truck a good idea if you don't have capital? Well, here's the thing. If you don't have capital, do you have enough capital to start the business? Renting a box truck it all depends on what you're doing. If you're renting a box truck, let's say to go OTR, yeah, rates to rent a box truck now are a lot lower than they were a year and a half, 2 years ago. But if you're running OTR, you got to keep in mind every single mile you run is costing you. The truck is costing you weekly, right? And those rates can fluctuate depending on demand of the market. If you're running something, let's say local, right, like a curbside or let's say a big and bulky final mile, you may see more success because you're running less miles, you're putting less fuel, your costs are a little bit lower, right? Versus running over the road, those miles are going to be adding up on you. So it all depends, you know what I'm saying? Within the past maybe year, 2 years, 3 years since the pandemic started, most of the people that came in with renting a box truck, they've seen less success than, let's say, people that came in buying. Now, there are people that rent box trucks that have seen some level of success, but you need to make sure that when you go into renting a box truck, you need to make sure you get a rate that you can sustain, and still be able to cash flow your business. I think, anything over $100, maybe $125 a day in the current market may be a little bit too excessive. All right. I think a person who's running OTR should be able to maintain, if they're working, and be able to pay $100, $125 a day rental. Right. Now, if you're one of those people that's going out here that, that come across me that's paying $1,000, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a week for a rental, then, then on another thing that you got to keep in mind, because I know a few people have come across me within the past week asking me that same question, is this: if they're putting a cap on your miles. If they're putting a cap on your miles, then it's a no-go. And what I don't understand is when people come to me and they're telling me and they present me with this stuff and they saying, well, the rental truck company putting a cap on my miles, so I'm just going to run in a small radius. Look, if you run an OTR, that means OTR, you got to go where the money at. So if you're being limited to how many miles you can go, that means you're limiting your paper too. You're limiting your money. So why invest into something where they already capping you? So if they capping you, they capping your bread. If you go over those miles, they're going to charge you double, triple, I've seen. All right. So if you go to rent a truck and they putting a cap on your miles, then it's a no-go, especially for OTR. Now, if they putting 1,000 mile cap, or let's say a 1,500 mile cap on you, local, then that's different. You probably not hitting 1,000 miles. You may be hitting 600 miles a week local, maybe 750 miles. That's a different ball game. But if you run an OTR and they hitting you with a cap, then no. No. You don't want any limitations. You want to be able to go as the wind flows. You may get an opportunity of a lifetime that's paying exceptionally well, right? And you may not be able to do it because 1,000 or 1,500 miles, that may be one trip. You drive from Chicago down to Texas, that's 1,000 miles right there. Now your miles is gone. You still got to get back. You still got to do other stuff. So now your mileage rate done went from whatever they charge you, let's say 15 cents. Now it's done went to 30 cents or the 38 cent or the 40 cent. So why put yourself in that situation? So, that all depends. If you're doing local work, I think a rental is okay. If you're doing OTR work, it depends on the rate you're getting. It depends on the rate you're getting, depends on how hard you're willing to work. If you're getting a good rate, you're getting something 600, 650. On the high end of me, 700, maybe 750. That would be the cap for me. You know what I'm saying? If I was coming out here right now doing this, that would be the cap for me for the week. And then I wouldn't want to do nothing more than 12 cents a mile. Now, some people like, man, Mark, that's impossible. No, it's not, because I get these calls every single week. Every week. I ain't renting a Penske truck. I'm retired. And Penske still call me because those salespeople are, that stuff is, they cycling, people coming in and going. So they still keep your information. And then when those new sales guys come in there, they just dig up old information of people who spent a lot of money, and they go through and they call and pitch you, hey, you need a truck right now? And, I always play with them because I want to see what the market sentiment is for rental trucks right now so that I could present that information to you. But, right now they offering me 12 cents. So it's possible because ain't nobody renting trucks. So you can talk them down, but if you come in there on the new and you telling them all your business and you telling them you new because you excited, it ain't like they finna go and look up your damn articles of incorporation to see when you incorporated. If they want to see your articles and they want to see your SS4 form, they just want that for proof. They're going to make a copy of that and they're going to throw it in your file. They're not going to go do that type of research. So go in there, act like you know what you're talking about, and be firm. If you go in there, you tell them you on the new, and you acting all frantic and goofy because man and them done told you, man, you start a box truck business, you make $1 million. Yeah, they're going to treat you like a goofy. Yeah, they're going to tell you 28 cents a mile, $800 a week, $900 a week. Nah, you go in there like you know what you're talking about, man. I need $675 a week. I need 12 cents a mile. You go to Penske, tell them, man, I need $650 a week. I need 12 cents a mile, and I need y'all to give me a 2-month commitment. Penske does what's called a 2-month price lock in. They're going to give you a sheet. It's going to be a 1-page contract that's going to lock that rate in for 2 months. So they're going to know you know what you're talking about, because if you know that they offer this, they're going to know either you dealt with them before or you've been coached by somebody. So, man, I need a 2-month commitment. I want to sign a 2-month commitment for $650, $675, 12 cents a mile. There's people that are getting those rates. How do I know? Because I've coached them into those rates. They've come to me with the BS. Oh, Mark, they trying to say. I said, nah, do this. Go back or call them back. Tell them you want this, and tell them you want to sign a 2-month commitment. Then they hit me back 2-3 days. Like, yeah, Mark, thank it worked. So it's just it's what you know. It's what you know. So that all depends, man. That all depends on what you're running and how hard you're gonna be willing to work. So if you're running OTR, yeah, I think you can rent a truck as long as you're getting a decent rate. But I wouldn't try to build my business off of rental for the long term. That's something that you want to get in, start making money, work really, really hard, then try to transition out of that rental truck over a given period of time. So Heavy Goodman says Facebook is glitching. All right. Let me know if it's still glitching. Then I'm gonna have to cut Facebook off. Damn, it's a lot of questions in here. All right, let's go back over to Instagram. Let me see. Instagram. Is it even worth it to get into the box truck business right now? Is it even worth it to get into the box truck business right now in Manhattan, New York, without doing OTR? If you in Manhattan, listen, Manhattan is a city with what 9 million people. So based off of the population, I would think there would be opportunity in New York. Now, where the problem is, I would see in New York for a person in a box truck, maybe it's traffic, maneuvering, um, competition, uh, uh, things of that nature. I'm pretty sure opportunity is there for New York. If I were in New York, just based on knowing the business and knowing that market, coming from a large market myself, not as large as New York, I probably wouldn't want to get into a 26-foot box truck running local. If I were going to do local, I would do something either in a cargo van or a 16-footer. I think 16-footer would be my limit for New York because it would just be easier to maneuver around. And New York, this whole messenger courier business, New York is the granddaddy of the messenger and the courier business. Like that whole biking messenger and all that. That New York is the granddaddy of that. So I would focus on smaller e-commerce opportunities if I were New York. I wouldn't be looking at nothing bigger than a 16-footer, preferably a cargo van, and I would maximize the opportunity or take advantage of the opportunity, I should say, of just the people there and focus on essentials and office supplies and things of that nature, and just try to find my lane in that cesspool of competition versus, a 26-footer trying to maneuver it. Nah, man. Nah. So yeah, I think there is opportunity there. I think it's worth it. I wouldn't think 26-footer if I were you. This is me. I wouldn't be thinking 26-footer. I would be thinking cargo van and 16-footer, and I would try to build me up a hell of a messenger service in New York myself. What else? What up, Mark? I answered that one. Let's see. What else? Renting a box truck. Mark, when you say broker, I assume you mean an insurance broker, a commercial insurance broker. A commercial insurance broker. So you got to find an insurance company or an insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance. All right. So they deal with business insurance. Doesn't have to be primarily trucking, but they do trucking commercial insurance. And then now what they have is they have a bunch of options that you don't know exist, right? So a bunch of different insurance companies that you've probably never heard of that they can go out and shop your company, right, with, and then those insurance companies are going to look at your company, they're going to see what you need, and then they're going to present a proposal back to your broker, and then he's going to present that to you. Before he presents that to you, he's going to probably pull out what he thinks is going to suit your budget based off what you told him, and if he's a really good broker, he's taking the time out to mix and match before he presents it to you, right? And then that way he's going to be the liaison between you and the insurance company as far as getting your business insured. So yeah, there's a lot of different insurance companies out there that you've probably never heard of. So that's why it's just best to get a broker and let him go out and do the heavy lifting for you. It's not something you got to pay for. The broker gets paid off you paying your insurance. They whatever their deal is with the insurance company, they get a residual of you off you paying your insurance. So the broker's job is to go out and find people like you for the commercial insurance company. So yeah, so a commercial insurance broker. If you don't know anybody that's in business, then the easiest way to find a commercial insurance broker, go to a commercial insurance company that you can't sign on with yourself. And then what you can do is, hold on, let me see something. I gotta pull my screen up. All right, so what you can do is Let me share my screen. All right, so what you can do is go to a commercial insurance company. So this is the first insurance company I ever had, which was Grange. All right, Grange. Um, and then what you can do here is like now Grange, you can't just sign up with them on your own. You can't just go to Grange.com and buy insurance. That's why they got find an agency right here. And if you click on find an agency, right, it's gonna bring up a bunch of different agencies that are gonna be close to your area if you got your location, right? So I'm downtown Chicago, so it's showing me everything that's downtown Chicago, right? Right here. So right here is downtown Chicago, and all these little Grange logos are agents that the closest agents that partner with Grange, right? So boom, like they got Perez, you got this one, Northwest Insurance. Now, none of these, you notice that none of them are called Grange. These are all insurance companies and brokers, right? Northwest Insurance Brokers, Perez Insurance Agency, Northwest Insurance Brokers, Wirtz Insurance Agency. All these are agencies or brokers that you can go to and say, hey, I'm a new trucking owner. I need commercial insurance. And then what they're going to do is they're going to go out, like I said, and shop your company, and then certain insurance companies are going to come back with proposals and they're going to present that stuff to you, because you can't go to Grange directly yourself. You got to go through an agent. You got to go through a broker. All right. So that's what you would do. That's a tip. All right. That's a tip. That's how you find a broker. Now, once you go do this, it's up to you as well as to, figure out which broker, depending on which broker you choose, if they're a good broker or not. So let's say you decide to go with Wirtz, or let's say Northwest Insurance Broker. Then it would be up for you to go and start researching Wirtz or Northwest Insurance Broker. Make sure they do a good job. See what other people have written in the Google reviews about them. See if they got a Yelp review, whatever. Go and start doing your research on them. Don't be thirsty and just pick the first person you see on the list and just go with them. You want to find someone that's going to work in your best interest. The broker's job is to connect you with insurance companies and work in your best interest. They should want to save you money. They should want to save you money. And once again, I keep repeating this. A lot of people say, man, I never knew that. You don't have to have Progressive for everything, or Grange for everything, or this company for everything. Like literally, like I've had it where I've had one company for general liability, one company for commercial, one company for cargo. 3 separate companies on the Accord policy form. Because that would, setting it up that way, save me the most money at that particular time. So you got to find you a good broker, man. Hey Mark, besides T-Force US Pack, do you know anyone else you can get contracts with in January? I heard January is very slow. Yeah, it's slow now. People are already hitting me up talking about how slow it is. But I've been told people it was this slow. I've been told people it was going to get slow. That's just, listen, everything is slow right now. You got everybody complaining it's slow. I got a homegirl that do the little package delivery for one of those apps. She said it's slow there. You know what I'm saying? Everything is slow. Why? Because people have exhausted their money, during the holiday shopping, right? This is a week where people are on vacation. Nobody's really moving around. They have family in time for the holidays, people are away for the holidays. People are trying to recoup from the money they spent for the holidays. Even today, somebody hit me up this morning like, man, the market tanking. This happens every year. Why is the market tanking today? Because people are recouping money, pulling out of assets because they overspent during the holidays. But guess what? Monday and Sunday is New Year's Eve. Man done called him. Man want to go get a section for New Year's Eve. The section on New Year's Eve is a lot more money because the nightclubs and the bars take advantage of this one night, right? This is the biggest night of the year for people who, let me not say that. This is the biggest night of the year for a lot of these clubs and bars, and they overcharge people. So people are already spent a lot of money last week. So guess what? They start finding money. If they got assets here, they got stocks or crypto, or shit, you might got however they got to push, start pulling out their 401k, they savings, they start pulling money from wherever so they can invest into this one night to party, right? So now if they didn't did that, this is why the market always goes down that week between Christmas and New Year's. And then after New Year's, after people done spent all their money, them partied for them 2 weeks, January is pretty much recouping. People get on their business and they go to work. They trying to pick up extra shifts and all this, that, and the third, because they got to make up for all the money that they overspent. Their credit cards done went through the roof. They done maxed out their credit card. They just showed it last week how the credit card deficit is the highest it's ever been. Auto repossessions is the highest it's ever been. So January is always a slow month. Nobody's spending money in January because everybody overspent in December between Christmas and partying for New Year's. It's all like, ever since I've been in business, it's always been like, before I started a business, when I was working through college, I worked in retail. I worked at the Gap for 5 years. November, December would be very, very busy. January, be slow. It's the same way with any other retail stores. They hire for the holidays, right? And then right about now, they starting to lay people off. They preparing, well, okay, who we want to lay off in January? Well, you don't need all those people no more because it's going to be slow. So everything gets slow in January. So it's just a part of the business. That's just something you got to be prepared. I've been telling people this for a year and a half now. So now, as far as hiring is concerned, where I think 3PL is going to start hiring in February, right? Because now you got to be smart. January and February are the months that you want to start, really focusing on, the next season and the next quarter, right? You want to start putting your applications in. You want to start, inquiring with the contacts that I've given you at these 3PL companies, because spring is going to be right around the corner. And then that's when business is going to pick up, especially for Home Depot. You don't want to wait to the last minute. You want to get in early so that when that season starts to decline around September, October, those 3PLs will be done cycled through so many contractors, and you'll keep rising up the seniority list so that when they do start laying people off, you won't be at the bottom of the seniority list. That way you'll still have a route that will carry you over through the slow season. There's still routes right now. It's just not as many routes as there were 6-7 months ago. You want to be one of the guys who still gets a consistent route. So January and February, you want to start applying. You want to start making contact with the recruiting managers so that when volume does start to pick up, you're already in. You've already made contact. You're checking, and boom, somewhere end of February, beginning to mid-March, when all those gazebos, when all that patio furniture starts coming in, when all that outdoor surplus of stuff starts coming in, which pushes volume up, you in there like swimwear from the beginning. So January and February is time to start making contact and start selling yourself, right? So just because it's slow, as far as, you out physically doing the work, January and February is the time you need to be selling yourself and selling your business, right? Because March is going to be right around the corner, man. Then April is off and running. People ordering these big ass gazebos, this patio stuff, all this outdoor stuff, bricks and pallets of this and pallets of that. It also starts home building season. Hopefully, I know the market is kind of bad right now, but you got people remodeling homes and all types of stuff. So take the little slow period to focus on building relationships. But yeah, it's going to be slow for everybody. That's just what it is, man. There's nothing you can do about that. Hey, Mark, when I'm OTR, is it ever good to take a load that's below my cost per mile? I don't even got to read the rest of the question. Why would you do that? Unless you partialing. If you partialing, then, but if you're doing like a one pick, one drop, if your cost per mile is, let's say $2, right? Just make the math easy, and you take something that's $1, that means you're losing $1 per mile. Just to keep the truck moving, or should I just wait it out? Listen. If I sell water, right, and let's say 10 waters come in a case, right? Let's say 10 waters come in a case, and I want to make the math easy. Let's say 10 waters come in a case, and a case costs me $10, right? That means each water in the case is $1. 10 waters in the case, $10 a case. That means each bottle of water in that case cost me $1. Now, if I sold these waters individually and I sold them for 50 cents, that means I'm losing half of the money. The purpose of getting in business is to make money. So if I get a case of water, it's 10 cases of water, and the case costs me $10, that's $1 a bottle. I'm gonna sell for $2, or I'm gonna sell for $1.50. You see what I'm saying? So that I can profit. So the answer to your question is no. Listen, you're gonna lose more money moving the truck than you would if the truck stayed parked. If the truck stayed parked, you're just not making no money that day. You're losing money, but you're not losing as much as it would be if you're running a load, you're doing labor, you're driving, you're burning fuel, the wheels are turning. So that means that's wear and tear, that's cost. Plus whatever unforeseen incident that may happen down the road that you may not know is coming. You may get a flat tire and be stranded. Now you got to get a tow, you got to get roadside, this, that, and the third. Now that's costing you money, all because you took a load that was less than your cost per mile. So now on top of you losing money, you spending unnecessary money when the truck could have just stayed parked. So no. Especially if you knowingly doing it. It's different when you got a naive person that's new to the business, just don't know no better. There's a lot of them out there right now that's just running shit because they looking at the load board, they see 1,200 and they run it. They see 1,200. We had a guy come up on the show. He ran from Florida to wherever it was. The load paid him $1,000, but the trip was 1,400 miles. The trip was 1,400 miles and it only paid him $1,000. He just saw $1,000 and he ran it. He didn't know no better. He didn't know his cost per mile, nothing. So if you knowingly know what your cost per mile is, no, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself in a trick bag just to keep the truck moving? Leave it parked until you find something better. You don't operate at a loss knowingly just to keep the truck moving. What's the sense of that? No. The route they offer me is through my carrier company. The company that offered me my carrier routes is called, it's a Pharmerica 25. Yeah, see those pharmaceutical routes, I've never been a fan of them. So, I've never been a fan of those. Is there a delivery company that I can deliver with IKEA? Yeah, it's called, if you're talking about a box truck, it's NAL. It's NAL. Now, if you trying to do gig work, then none that I know of. They work on TaskRabbit as far as assembly, right? IKEA, they work with TaskRabbit as far as the assembly portion of their business, right? But as far as the delivery, it's through NAL for the most part. Do you think I should get my number? I think you mean your DOT 3 months ahead before I start my business. If you want to, that would, work in your favor as far as age. I'm doing a 50 to 60 stop daily with T-Force that includes Kaiser Hospital and Staples for $300. Is that a good rate? Yep, that's a good rate. That's about the norm. Yep, 50 to 60 stops, $300 a day. That includes a hospital. That hospital probably has a lot of paper, so you probably have a nice little payout just probably with that one stop. Yep, 50 to 60 stops, $300 a day. So that's a cargo van. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I know I put the video out of Natasha yesterday. She's doing 100 stops at 300. She's not able to complete it. So 50 to 60, that's half. So yeah, that's great. That's what my average was when we was doing it for T-Force back in the day. I was getting a guarantee of 300 per vehicle, and it averaged to 50, 60 stops depending on where. Some stops were more pieces, but those were like schools, and those bigger stops, I would send a 16-footer because they were getting pallets of paper. So like we would go to the GM plant. GM plant would get 1 or 2 pallets of paper. Some schools get a pallet of paper. High schools a pallet or 2 of paper. So, all right, no more questions on Instagram. Yeah, Carolina says, what does OTR mean? OTR means over the road. Over the road. Rich Exotic says foreclosure is not slow. Well, I'm not into real estate the way I'm into trucking. So, and, I guess foreclosures not being slow, I guess that's a bad thing. I know a lot of people are losing their homes. A lot of people are losing their cars. That's not something good. But I mean, I guess if you're a person who buys foreclosed property, that's a good thing for you. Let's see. I guess in that case, then shit. Repossessions ain't slow either. Then, so if you a person who's looking to start a tow truck company where you repoing cars, I guess this is probably creme de la creme time. This is probably the top of the market for you. This is what you've been waiting on for the past couple of years. But now that's something though you putting your life in jeopardy. I know those repo guys in this market, they riding around with bulletproof vests. Not something I would be willing to do. All right, I answered that one. I believe states will pay each state the same. What's up? What up? Been heavy on starting a cargo van business. Was wondering how to apply with gig apps under LLC. So if the gig app allows you to apply with your business, you just put your business name in, and instead of putting your social security number in, you put your EIN number in. As simple as that. If it's a gig app that when you go to apply, they don't allow you to do that, then unfortunately you have to go with your personal name. But what you can do is once you put your personal name in, when they give you the option of how you want to receive your money, instead of putting your personal business account in, your personal account in, you just put your business account in. All right. So that way that money is going straight to your business, so that when it's time to do your taxes, all that money is going to be showing up on that statement. So then you can still treat that as income that was earned from your business. So that's an easy, I wouldn't even worry about that. Just pay your business. Just let the money go into your business account. Have I looked into Red Sea and what's going on there? No, I haven't. Danny O said he's getting a van next year. Congratulations. Bolo so says so basically it's best to start off with a cargo van. Listen, I think in these times you want to start off humbly. You want to start off with something small, something that is not that expensive for you to, because you still got to maneuver around that learning curve. So you want to start with something that's maybe a little bit more affordable for you to learn the business at. I think trucking is advanced. I never started straight in trucking. I always started the way I started would be similar to starting today off a gig app. I started with my truck off of Craigslist, my pickup truck off of Craigslist. So a lot of things that I learned just working in my pickup truck off of doing odd and end jobs off of Craigslist back in 2010, because there was no gig economy then, would be similar to doing something on a gig app now. There's a lot of things I learned. I learned how to maneuver furniture. I learned how to, route myself. I learned how to time myself. I learned how many jobs I could complete in a day. Right? I learned relationships. Right? I learned operations. Yeah. And then once I was utilizing what I had, I didn't have really any initial costs, but fuel in my tank. I already had the pickup truck. It was paid for. I didn't have to pay for any marketing. I would go on Craigslist, which was free back then, and just put an ad up. And I would get calls all day for that one ad. It's not like that anymore, but now you got gig economy, right? You got gig apps. So you utilize what you have. You can make a lot of money. A lot of people frowned up on me when I started telling them this earlier this year, late last year, because everybody was so caught up in that box truck shit. And, because people were selling them this dream, but I know that, it's not that simple to just go from no business experience to running a box truck and thinking you're going to see some success from it. Nah, me personally, I think everybody should start from humble beginnings. And then work your way up. You start from a gig app, maybe with what you have. You scale up to a cargo van. You already got the landscape of the business. You already know what it takes and what it entails. So now you've made an investment. Now you know you got to work your behind off, because now you got a bill that's coming out, right? You got to pay the note on that van. You got to pay the insurance for that van. You've taken a risk. You might have stepped away from your job. So now, your livelihood all depends on this business. You understand that, versus jumping in blind, which so many people have done and continue to do, because, it's a lot of people out there telling you how easy this shit gonna be. And then you get out there, and after you've invested your money into this, and you see, man, this ain't what I thought it was gonna be. Utilize what you got so you can get an idea of what it really is. Because once you elevate it, you go to that next level, you step up to a van, now you got to really get out there and get it. Same thing, going up that next level to a box truck. You got to really get out there and get it more. So yeah, I think if you don't want to go all the way down to the grassroots bottom, then I think a van, in my humble, honest opinion, would be a good starting point for someone who's never been in business before, or never been in logistics before, to get a good idea of what they're getting into on a smaller scale, on a less expensive scale, and then you can work the hell out of that and scale your business up for there. So now when you do go out, right after you seen some success in the cargo van and go up to a box truck, you already know what you in for. So before you even make that decision, you already know what you in for before you go out and you acquire that box truck, because you see what you're dealing with in a cargo van, right? So yeah, I think in my humble opinion, I think, starting from grassroots is better. The rates are bad in the Northeast. I've been stuck in Massachusetts for 3 days. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Rates are tough everywhere. And, I've seen mixed reports on 2024. Some analysts are saying good second quarter. Some people are saying 2025, 2026. But the one thing that a lot of people are agreeing on, including myself, is that capacity is going to continue to go down. We're seeing it go down now. A lot of people are leaving. A lot of people are failing, which is good. A lot of people don't like when you say that, but listen, there's an overabundant supply due to the pandemic. A lot of people came into the space, right? And the demand isn't there anymore to meet that amount of supply. So you need people to fail. All right. Capacity needs to go down, right? The more capacity goes down, the more opportunities for people out there that can sustain, which will ultimately help loads, right? Load volume, and it will also help bring up the rates a little bit. But, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's too early for me to forecast it. And the reason why I'm kind of on the fence is because if you look what's going on as far as just how people overspent, over the past couple of years, and you look at the deficit of the credit card, a lot of people this holiday season didn't have the cash to go buy the items they had. They used their credit, right? So you got credit deficit highest, you got repos being the highest, like the person over there said on Instagram, you got the foreclosures. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people sitting still, low inventory. That's going to carry over into 2024. So people may not have the extra money to make frivolous purchases. Essentials are going to always be good, right? So that's why I'm telling people, man, you know, your better option may be to purchase a cargo van, because essentials are going to always move. So if I were to be a better man right now, just based on what I see in the economy, right, as far as people overspending, if I had to make a forecast right now, I would say, man, 2024 may be a repeat of 2023, because people just don't have the money. It's going to take time to recover. Then you have layoffs that are starting up. Remember, I spoke on this a few months ago. You know, once they start to curve the inflation and start to bring it down, you're going to have companies start laying people off. Remember, I said that. Now you see a lot of companies starting to lay people off, especially in the tech field. A lot of those guys that were taking those tech jobs a few years ago, they thought it was made in the shade. This is what they've been waiting on. Those companies used them. We don't need you no more. You're going to see more companies over the next couple of months continue to lay more and more people off. Which goes back into what else I said. Now you're going to see the unemployment rates rise. Right? So me personally, if I were to make a bet now, I would say 2024 would be a repeat of 2023. You know, just based off history, just based off understanding cycles of the economy. I would see. Then we got an election. This is going to be the election of all elections. And what happens every election? People get tight. People that have money get tight. All right, there's too much uncertainty. So, listen, this is why I say when the money is coming in, bust your behind. I've been down these roads plenty of times. I was once a naive person too, back in the day. You know what I'm saying? When money is coming in, you work. As long as that money coming in, you shouldn't be thinking about no vacation. You shouldn't be thinking about nothing that's taking you away from work. If that money and that dollar is calling you, you work. Because there's going to be times like this. There's going to be times like next month where opportunities are going to be scarce. But because you took advantage of opportunities when they presented them to you, it don't really affect you. It affects the person that when opportunities were presenting themselves because they made a good amount of money last week, they want to take advantage of not working this week because they want to go spend the money they made last week because they thinking they just going to go back next week and be able to recoup it. Nah, you don't have that. No. It don't work like that when you working for yourself. It's that money calling, you got to keep bringing it in because the time is going to come when that money going to stop calling you. But you're going to be in a good position because as it called you, you always answered. You always answered that call. So yeah, I think it's right now, the way it's looking to me, I think 2024 is going to be a repeat of 2023. You know, so I just don't see people with the debt rising. I just don't see that shit turning around in a matter of a quarter. You know, I just don't see that. Rider capture mileage at 18. Penske is unlimited, but like 800 a week. So that's somebody. All right, let me go back over to Instagram. For box trucks, Cornbread says, for box trucks, do you need a CDLA? No. If you get a non-CDL box truck, if you get a CDL box truck, 33 pounds, you can get a B. But if you have a non-CDL box truck, you don't need a as long as it's under 26,000 pounds, you don't need a CDL. You don't need a CDL. All right, so Instagram is out of there. If you're on Instagram, you got to come on over to YouTube or Facebook. All right, so we can just focus on this one screen now. Penske rated in Charleston, South Carolina. It's okay. Boom, boom, boom. What up? J. Cole said, you just turned in the rental. Time for a new chapter. So what? You gonna buy your own truck or you done with. You done with the business. Investing in cargo van, just go local. All right, Bolo said he's just going to invest in cargo van and go local. What kind of cargo van would a person need to get into the cargo van business? I drive semis. I would say get a Ford Transit or a Mercedes Sprinter. Me personally, if I were in your position on the cusp of getting started, I would go with the Ford Transit. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. I would go with the Ford Transit. Depending on my budget, I would go with the T250 high roof extended length. If my budget didn't, if I just didn't have the budget to get the Ford T250 high roof extended length, then I would settle for a Ford T150. I would just get my foot in the door. I would get a Ford T150, the longer version, and I would just thug that out. That's going to cost me somewhere around the $15,000 to $18,000, $19,000 mark. I get out there, bust my behind. It's going to be cheap. That's something I know I can pay that off within a year or two. You know what I'm saying? Once I get out there and really, hustle. And then from there, I'll probably move up to that T250 and I would run it like that. I would stay away from the Ram. I like the Chevy Express. I purchased one back in the day, a brand new one. It's a good van, but that high roof makes all the difference in the world. So I would go with that T250. New York is going to try to charge people to drive into the city. Now, I heard they got like a $23 bridge tax toll or something I was reading about. Jacksonville, Florida in the building. Thanks for all the info you put out constantly, Mark. Citadel Logistics Solution coming soon, baby. Appreciate you. Island Boy Fishing TV. Devontae, what up? What's best for cargo van? I would say a Ford Transit, T250 extended length, high roof. If you can't afford that, then I would get a T150. Hey, Mark, do the people you give free coaching to take advantage of the blessing? I don't know, man. Listen. You're going to have people that's going to come listen. They're going to take advantage of the information. You're going to have people that's going to come listen, and that's all they're going to do is listen. You're going to have some people that come listen who have intentions to start, and that shit never goes off the ground. So, I don't know. I said I was going to do something, so I've been here consistently doing it. So, to the people who do get the information and they apply it, they always make sure they come back and let me know that the information I gave them, helped them tremendously. So that's good enough for me, man. That's good enough for me. As long as I can help some people, then that's what I'm here to do. Now, you said, or do they fail? I've never had anyone personally that I've helped that failed. Everyone that has listened to me has succeeded. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's listened to me has succeeded. Most of my coaching sessions, which I really don't do that many. Why? Because I give so much free information. So, a lot of people don't book me for coaching. Usually if I do a coaching session, I think I've done one paid coaching session this month. And usually when it's a paid coaching session, it's someone that really needs a consultation with someone really experienced. They're either in a tough, difficult situation and it's something private, right, that they need coaching out of, or it's someone that's looking to expand their business and they want to go about it the right way. Like this, this primary intermediate information, if you watch the content or you catch me on a live stream, one of these live streams, I can pretty much answer your questions for free. Like, I think a lot of the people that do watch the content that run into issues are the people that don't listen. We've seen that happen so many times. We saw it happen a week ago on one of the live streams. You tell a person everything to do and they go do the opposite. You tell a person everything that once they get into this business, what they're going to be presented with, right? And then they get in and they're presented with this and they can't handle it. You tell a person go buy a white van because, 3PLs ain't going to take these colorful vans. They're going to turn you away. They go get a yellow van. You see what I'm saying? So and plenty of other case studies that I've shown on this channel from people hitting that link and coming up. So yeah, the information is there. All you got to do, people got to do, is listen. But you're gonna have some cases where people just want to do things on their own. So you know what Mama always say: hard head make a soft behind, or some shit like that. So I don't have no reason not to withhold information because I've given so much free information. Like, it don't make me no never mind because I'm retired. And even if I was in the business or got back in the business right now, me giving free information ain't gonna stop my bread because I know how to get it. You see what I'm saying? So for me to withhold information is crazy. That's why I wish the people that don't listen, like we saw last week, just listen. Because if you listen, you're gonna just come out the gate winning. You ain't gonna have to come back to Mark and hit that link with these sad sob stories because you went the complete opposite route of what I told you. So let's see, getting decent insurance rates takes time and few calls when you on the new. You gotta find a good broker. What do I think is a good paying route per day in a cargo van? I think 300. Like I always say, I think 300. If you get a good dedicated route, I think 300 is good. You know, get there early, be done by early to mid afternoon. Now you got the rest of the day to freelance on gig apps and increase your earning. If you're looking for a cargo van route, what is the ideal number per day would you want to make off of just that route? 300. Paul Smith, what up? Let's see. Barking and smart. Do it, go channel. How much is that contact list? You talking about my contact list? I'm giving out contacts for free. I don't charge for that. Now, there's some contacts that are in the members only section that I've posted over the course of the past year. So I got contacts there, but for the most part, I just pretty much give them out. I don't charge nobody for no information. That ain't me. Listen, I ain't the person who gonna charge you for account managers and all this shit that's free anyway. Like I'm not do that. Yeah, the T-Force and all those people, Capstone, all those numbers are under the members only section. See a lot of people conversing in the chat, helping each other out. That's what's up. How can you find work with refrigerated box trucks? Now, I don't know. I never ran reefer box truck. There's a gentleman that watches me by the name of Isaac down in Atlanta. From what he told me, he runs his routes for the farmers market. Now, how he told me how he acquired them, I forgot. So it's an episode. Actually, we got an episode with him. You got to go find the episode where the title is "Guy Makes $1,500 a Day with Refrigerated Box Truck." Probably from like maybe 5 or 6 or 7 months ago. Go back and find that episode, and that episode will help you with refrigerated box trucks. Not my special. I've never ran it. Make sure y'all hit that like button. See, we got more people coming in. Make sure you guys come on in and hit that like button. I really appreciate that. That helps me it doesn't pay me, but it does help, give me the, I wouldn't even say motivation, because it just gives me the incentive to, keep making this content. As long as people show up when I go live and they hit the like button, I'll keep doing it. If I see the sentiment changes, then maybe I won't do it. So as long as people show up and hit the like button, then I'll keep doing it. So just make sure you hit the like button. I appreciate it. Thanks. I just had to get your take. It's all good. When I was in 850, how can I find work? $25 stop in the hospital. Is it more beneficial to come in the game? First of all, don't call it a game. It's a business. You come into a business calling it a game, you already failing right there. Because when you get in business, you're gonna see ain't nothing about it a game. You treat it like a game. At the end of the day, the game going to end. Whether you beat the game, you flip the game, or you cut the damn PlayStation off, game going to be over with. It's a business. You got to treat it like a business. So you got to change your terminology because you never know who you may be talking to, and you don't want to say, man, so call it a business. First thing. Is it more beneficial to come into business with multiple cargo vans rather than one? Well, if you've never done this business, it's best to come in with one. Why? Because you don't even know what the hell you're doing in the first place. So why come in with a multitude of vehicles? So like I always say, the learning curve costs. It costs. So do you want to amplify your learning curve times however many vehicles you come in, or do you want to master one vehicle at a cheaper cost of learning, and then once you master that one vehicle, you duplicate that success in the next vehicle and the next vehicle and the next vehicle? Because what's going to happen is, like most people, they're going to come in thinking they're doing something because to them it's about image. And trust me, it feels good. When I used to come into their yard with all those box trucks just all around the yard, it did feel good. But I scaled up to that point. You don't want to come in with all those vehicles and you don't know how to move none of them. You don't even know how to move one. Learn how to move one first. Learn how to move one. So no, come with one. Because everybody I've known that I've met since creating content over the past couple of years that have come in with a multitude of vehicles or came in with one vehicle and started to scale when they hadn't figured out how to be profitable in that one business, they all failed. You got vans parked because you can't even figure out how to run one. You got vans parked because you can't keep people in those vehicles and you still haven't figured out how to master one. You got to figure out how to master one. You get multitude of vans, that means you got to hire people. Do you know how to control people? Do you know how to manipulate people? Because running a business, it takes a little level of manipulation too. You got to know how to keep people happy. What market do you live in? Do you know what it costs to operate a cargo van? Do you know what the average gross of a cargo van brings in? So based off what the average gross of a cargo van brings in versus what market you in, do you know if you're going to be able to onboard a multitude of cargo vans with what that cargo van can potentially make versus what the market sentiment of what a person is going to want to make in your market? Listen, if you live in like Chicago or New York or LA, is that cargo van going to make enough money to pay a person in those markets where the cost of living are high? Have you figured out how to make a certain amount of money in that van to be able to scale up and to be able to meet what a person is going to want to earn a day to run that van? See, these are all things you got to figure out from being out there in the field and learning. And it's best to do it with one van. L says, hi, Mark. Good to see you. Do you know offhand which companies other than T-Force allow owner-operators to use insurance through Open Force? Thank you. So there's a bunch of companies that use third parties to do onboarding and insurance and payroll. Not everybody uses Open Force. So back in my day, pretty much everybody used Open Force because it was like one of the only companies. It was Open Force and SCI. But now you got companies like UST. They have a company called, starts with a P. I think it's Pilot or something like that. What these companies are doing, they're building their own third-party company to handle onboarding and stuff like that. Now, what companies still use Open Force other than T-Force? I wouldn't be able to tell you what all companies use T-Force, but most companies now do have a liaison in between them and the contractor to handle the onboarding, offer you different insurance packages, pay your settlements, and this, that, and the third. So You wouldn't know that until you start applying with these companies, and then if they do use a third party, then they'll let you know because that's the link they're going to send you to start the onboarding process. What's the best way to identify scammers posing as brokers offering jobs to new owner operators? The best way to identify scammers posing as brokers? I could answer that question, but I don't want to, I don't want to. What's the word I want to look for? I don't want to seem, what's the word I want to use? I want to be politically correct here, man. I want to be politically correct, man. I don't want to answer this question like how Kirk would answer it. Kirk don't really care. I want to be politically correct. Man, what's the word I want to use? What's the word I want to use? Man, skip it. Listen, if you call a broker, one, I'm gonna give you an easy way. Outside of the rates, like once you become trained in this business, you'll kind of know offhand. But first sign you need to look for is when you call a person and they don't sound like they here. They sound like they overseas, right? And damn, do I want to say this? And it's like a guy that's overseas. I'm not going to identify any specific ethnic group, right? That's one way. If the shit sounds just, if it's just something that is just like, this is ridiculous, 9 times out of 10 is getting double brokered. If it's something like the guy who took $1,000 to run 1,400 miles, that was double brokered. If shit is just don't make no sense. Now, yes, there's going to be routes where, they're going to be on the lower end, right? But you got some shit that just don't make no sense, man. And some shit don't make no sense. Now, it's some things that I want to say, but I don't want to say them, right? Because I'm trying to clean the channel up. I don't want to sound like I'm pinpointing specific groups and things like that. Another thing that you can do is that I would suggest you do is get with a company like Freight Guard. Don't take anything that's not verified. All right. If they're not gonna factor you, that's a sign right there. Most of those companies are double broker. You can't factor through them, right? Make sure that they got a check next to their name. Run them through Freight Guard and make sure they factor you. Those are some easy ways to avoid getting double brokered. All right. Now, there's some other things that you can look out for, but I don't want to get too specific. All right. So stick with the basics. Find a company that's verified. You can run them through Freight Guard. All right. Now, Freight Guard is going to cost you a little money. All right. But it is what it is. Factoring. All right. If a company is not factoring you, it's a possibility. Not all the time, but it's a possibility that, they may be double brokering. If they overseas, big possibility. Big possibility. All right. NAL. No, not NEL. NAL. 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 N is in Nancy, A is in Apple, L is in Larry. Fonzo the Trucker, what's up? That's why I like dedicated final mile runs. A lot of time when it's slow, that just means easier day for us ICs. Yep. So right now it's slow. So it's easy for people who have dedicated routes right now. Can you scale on gig apps? It's a gig app, so it's not nothing dedicated. Now, GoShare does have dedicated routes, but they just don't give them to anybody. You got to be on that app for a while, and you got to exemplify great service before they offer you something dedicated. But with some of these apps, there is opportunity to get dedicated. Damn, I lost my place. Oh, I lost my spot. You should bring Axel on your show. No, I didn't answer that one. You should bring Axel on your show. Nope, not bringing Axel on my show anytime soon. I mean, he's cool, we're cordial, but Axel pisses too many people off. Axel pisses too many people off. And he's good for being in the comment section, right? But to be on the show, I don't think I want to bring him on anytime soon. Anytime soon. Him and Kurt got an issue. He putting out videos against other people. And I just don't want to get caught up in that shit. Real quick, since we on the topic of Final Mile, because this is something I did want to talk about if Final Mile came up. Somebody asked me the other day about a company that got bought out. So the company that got bought out was Ford Final Mile. And I'm pulling up the article now. Ford Final Mile, their Final Mile division got bought out by the Hub Group. All right, Ford Final Mile, their Final Mile division got bought out by the Hub Group. So whoever mentioned that company the other day, whatever company it wasn't Hub or it wasn't Ford Final Mile. That's who got bought out recently. Ford Final Mile, their Final Mile division got bought out by the Hub Group. All right. Let me go back to see where I left off at because I hit that button and it threw me off. What's the best identified scammers? I talked about that one. What's good? I think this one. Can 13 skids fit on a 26-foot box truck? Can you explain how to fit them if possible? If you, listen, 12 skids, if you turn them sideways, I think it's a possibility. I've never tried it, but you can turn them, you should be able to turn them sideways and you may be able to get an extra one on. I've never tried it personally. All right. I've always taken, when I was on the truck, I've always taken the specs because I was quick to take some shit back. And the reason why is because I always ran on a guarantee. I'm not trying to take anything extra than what I can. I'm not trying to force anything, none of that shit. All right. Because I've always operated on a guarantee. So you got to pay me, what we negotiated regardless. So I'm not trying to take more, all right, for the same amount of pay. But there is a way to maneuver it. Now, here's the thing, and here's why I'm not gonna, and why I try not to tell people to finesse things, because it just may not be a good thing for you to do, right? So whatever the specs are for the vehicle, that's what I would advise you to do. And I know you're new, and because I think in one of your questions you asked me a question about coming in, so coming in on the new, you shouldn't be trying to focus on the specifics. Focus on specs. All right. Don't try to finesse anything. Don't try to run anything advanced. Focus on specifics. All right. Focus on specifics. All right. I'm not going to sit here and tell people how to finesse shit. All right. Now, once you become experienced and you know how to finesse some things, or let's say a situation calls you to finesse something where it may be beneficial for you, then that's a difference. But I don't think you need to worry about extra pallets right now, sir. Wait, hold on, Sharp. Wait, hold on. No, you already in the game, right? Hold on, Sharp. No, you already in the game. You got a cargo van. So 12 pallets, yeah. So there's a way to get 13 pallets on. You just gotta flip the pallets. That's all. But that all depends too on what you got on the pallets, man. Like here's the thing with running Final Mile. And I can't really attest to running OTR because running Final Mile and just even cross-docking, I've had pallets come into my warehouse, let's oblong pallets because it may have a sofa on it. So I've had pallets come in that are really long. I've had pallets come in that are not the standard size pallet, right? Because it was a pallet that was custom built. Let's say maybe, and if you're running Final Mile, you may see this too, that had like a glass table. So let's say the glass was on a standard pallet and then they built a frame on the pallet because they have to ship the glass. Let's say if it's like a circle glass upright. I think I got some pictures too. Hold on. Let me go through my photos. Some old freight that I've came across in my warehouse. My albums, library. Oh no, I gotta go back some years. I'm gonna show you some stuff that I've had to deal with in the past as far as palettes. All right, here we go. Hold on. What year is that? 20. Hold on. Hold on. I just want to give you an idea of palettes that Final Mile deals with. So here's one. Let me put this over here. So running Final Mile is different from running OTR. Let me blow this up. So here's a palette. This came in. This is a sofa. So this is just a different size palette. So some days you're not even able to fit 12 pallets on a 26-foot box truck. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on the size of the pallet and what's coming out. So when I would send stuff like this out of my warehouse, this is my warehouse, something like this, I wouldn't be able to stack anything on top of this. So hold on. Let me see if I got another one. I got some pictures of shipping tables. Give me 1 second. Ooh, 1 second, yo. Hold on. That's this one. All right, now look at this one. See, this is a custom pallet, and this is how it came in off the truck. So this is not a normal pallet. So on a day like this, when this would go out, this would go on the truck, wouldn't be able to get 12 standard pallets on. So to answer your question, that all depends on what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you're running Final Mile, there's no guarantee. Oh, let me see if I can show you another one. I want to show you like a recumbent bike, what the pallet look for a recumbent bike. Give me 1 second. I got so many pictures. I'm just going through pictures. Hold on. Man, I got so many pictures, man. Well, here's one. Here's another longer pallet. This was a dresser. Oop, wrong one. So this was a dresser, but you can see how long this pallet is. So shit, running my lane, there's no guarantee we could even fit 12 pallets on any specific truck on any specific day, depending on what I was sending out to be delivered. So, and I would never finesse stuff because just what I've learned in the past, finessing just always leads to just because if I'm not on the truck, like I don't finesse shit. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gonna finesse nothing. I wouldn't suggest you do it too. So, how much experience do you need to start getting contracts with companies? No experience. I mean, if you get up and running today, let's say you get authorized today and you go apply with a company tomorrow and you go through all the processes and protocol and they ask you, do you got experience? 9 times out of 10, you're gonna say yeah, and they bring you on, you on. Like a lot of these companies, especially for Final Mile, they really don't care if you got experience or you don't. And the reason why is because at the end of the day, if you mess something up, it's gonna be on you. It's not gonna be on them. They're gonna charge you for it. They ain't gonna pay for it. So it's up to you to make sure that you know what you're doing, because once you accept that contract and you put that shit on your truck and you start to move it, the moment it goes on your truck, the moment you're responsible for it. Right. So with 3PLs, especially doing Final Mile, for the most part, they ask you, do you have experience? But for the most part, they really don't care, because at the end of the day, it's ultimately whatever happens is on you. So for cargo events, who is the best person to speak to about getting local contracts? Whatever 3PL company you go to apply with for a cargo van, you want to talk to either the operations supervisor or maybe the dispatcher, the head dispatcher, but mostly the operations supervisor. Mostly the operations supervisor. Well, here's the avalanche that it all started from, that I always talk about. My avalanche from back in the day. This was the day I sold it. This was the day I sold it. So this is how I started my business. I bought this truck in 02 brand new. And then in 2010, I started doing odds and end jobs off Craigslist. This is at my yard. This is one of my trucks right here. And I sold it to a lady, and she bought it in about 4 or 5 years ago. I was just holding on to it. It was like one of those things you cherish. And I finally sold it. I sold it to her for $5,000. And yeah, I had all this customized and everything back when I got it. But this truck is the truck that got everything started for me. This old Chevy Avalanche. So I was able to turn this truck into a fleet of 15, a warehouse, and a yard. So, and it all started from this truck right here. That's the Chevy Avalanche I always talk about. So that truck right there. And this was the day I sold it. The lady lived out in the suburbs. She drove her car. She paid me cash. And I told her that I would have it towed to her house. And that's what I did. So, yep. I'm still looking for that damn picture, too, for y'all. That's why I'm going through all this shit. I have a homie that drives for a contractor Final Mile with Top Hat. Is about to lose it. The GUU is about to lose the contract. Would you recommend taking the route and let my homie run? Wait. I have a homie that does or drives for contractor Final Mile. Okay, so he drives for Top Hat. So he's probably doing like a mattress contract. And you calling him a goo. So I guess that's goofy. I hear people call people a goo. That's goofy, right? Is about to lose the account. Would you recommend taking the route and let my homie run it? If he about to lose it and you take it, why would you let him run it? If he's losing his own contract for his own business, what makes you think he's going to be a better employee for you? If that's what you're asking me, if he's about to lose the contract as an owner operator, what makes you think he's going to be a better employee for you? That's my question. So to answer that, no. if he's not a good boss for himself, he definitely ain't gonna make a good employee. He definitely not gonna make a good employee. So no, I wouldn't. I would have to really look into the Red Sea situation. It's come across my desk, but I haven't really paid attention to the articles. I haven't really listened in. You the second person to ask me that. Matter of fact, let me just pull it up, man. I'm still looking for this picture. Let me just pull it up because you the second person to ask me about this. Red Sea. Drones versus warship. How U.S. military hours combined. All right. So basically, from the titles that I see, shippers are being attacked by drones. U.S. ally reluctant on Red Sea attacks. President Joe Biden hoped to present a firm international response to Yemen's Houthis attacking the Red Sea shipping by launching a new maritime force. All right, two of America's. All right, so who's doing the attacks? The Pentagon says the forces defensive coalition of more than 20 nations to ensure billions of dollars. All right, so Red Sea. Red Sea. Shipping disruption, Iran eyes Mediterranean. All right, so Iran. It looks like they're trying to cripple our supply chain. They're trying to cripple our imports coming in. So it's kind of too early. I'm just reading this story. So I got to really dig into it more. I think the best way to answer that question right now all depends on how Joe Biden responds to it. So I got to kind of read and look into this. I don't want to answer this question because I really haven't. I've heard of it. I heard about it. It came across, my ears yesterday just listening to news, but I got to really dig into it a little bit more. Got to see how Joe Biden is responding to this before I can answer that question and give a forecast. But it looks like what they're trying to do is they're trying to stop the flow of imports coming in. So depending on how more aggressive they get would determine on how more aggressive we need to get, and that would also ultimately determine on the amount of cargo ships that'll be coming in. So I don't know. This is interesting though. I'm gonna read into this today. And then the next time I go live, I'll be able to give you a better take on it. Would I pivot from a 26-footer? If my situation required me to, if I was not operating in a 26-footer and I just couldn't figure it out, or I'm in a bad market or whatever the case may have you, if it's something that I may need to scale down, then that's an option. That's always an option, scaling down. If the 26-footer isn't working for you, you can scale down. That's an option. That's just like a person, moving out of a 5-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom house, or moving out of a 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom house. If you get divorced or your kids are all grown up, you don't need that much house no more. You can scale down. If you're in a situation where your business is just not, you're just not running that business efficiently, effectively, it's just not working out for you. You feel like you could do a better job with a cargo van, right? For whatever reason, it just may be the market. You had no plans on going OTR. Let's say you went out and you bought a 26-foot box truck to do local work. You didn't do your research properly. There's no local work there. Or let's say you bought a 26-foot box truck to do Amazon and you didn't do your research properly, and there's not a lot of opportunity for Amazon there, or there is an Amazon there and just the rates aren't good, and you've been trying it for a year and a half, and it's just not working for you, and you want to scale down, then yeah, that's always an option. And that's not something I would be ashamed of either. If you got to do it, you got to do it. I'm about to sell my truck to buy a van for laminate flooring business. That's what's up. What's a good van to use? I say a Transit. How you doing, Mark? Paying yourself through an LLC is calculating business expenses first, then taxes, then third of what's left goes back to the LLC, right? No. 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 How do you calculating business expenses first, then a third of what's left goes back into the LLC. So when you're running a business, first thing you want to do, and this is probably how you put it, first thing you want to do is pay everything. You're the last person to get paid. Right. So once you pay all your expenses, after everything is paid, now you're looking to see what you got. All right. So let's say you're running a business and let's say you gross 5,000, right, for the week. And let's say after you've paid all your fixed costs and all of your variable costs, let's say $1,500 is left, right? Let's say $1,500 is left. So now you got to cash flow the business. You got to still pay yourself, right? And you want to allot something to the side for taxes. That's if you know you're not a good money manager, right? If you're a good money manager, so like I talked about the other day when people ask me about maintenance accounts and things like that, and they want to set different accounts aside. If you're a good money manager, you should be able to hold everything in one account. And then when it's time to pay taxes, that cash flow, that money will be there. If it's time for something, if something breaks down, then that maintenance fund would be in that same account. It all depends on you as the individual. Let's say you got $1,500 left. Now, within that $1,500, you still want to calculate taxes because you do want to keep that in mind, right? Separating is a different thing, all right, into a different account. That's a different thing. So within that $1,500, you got to figure out what you want to cash flow, pay yourself, and keep some money to the side for taxes. Now, I would personally pay myself a third, right? I would put some money to the side. I would put some money to the side for Uncle Sam, and then I would pay myself. Now, at the end of the year, once you go deal with your accountant, once he runs through your books and everything, if there's money left over, then that's fine. That goes to cash flow. Now, if you got a good accountant, you're sending him your documents every single month. So he's keeping up with this stuff every single month. And you should be able to keep up with it too, because here's the thing. If you got too much money, when the end of the year comes around, you do want to start spending some of that, right? So you can get those tax write-offs. All right. So the way I've always done it, I've always operated on a 20%, right? Sometimes I've had to play with my payroll. There's been times in business where we've seen difficult times and I had to go times without paying myself. There were times when the business where, my moving company had to float my trucking company. It was never the other way around. The moving company has always been able to sustain on its own. But you come across little situations, in trucking, especially with, final mile, because there's a third party there in between you and the customer, and they have hold of your money. I've told a story about when T-Force didn't pay me those 2 times. So if you're operating as an independent owner operator, you do want to pay yourself a third of whatever's left. That's what I coach people to do, and that's what I recommend. Now, with that being said, because like even Kirk, he talks about how he pays himself $750. I think a lot of people expect that they're going to make a large lump sum of money and be able to pay themselves a large lump sum of money. But the truth of the matter is your expenses are going to be way more than probably what you're going to be able to pay. In most cases, are going to be more than what you're going to be able to pay yourself. So if you got $1,500 left, me personally, I understand and I can see incidences happening down the line where I know my business needs to cash flow. If I got $1,500 net and I haven't paid myself, I'm paying myself $500 for that week. I'm putting that $1,000 in the cash flow, straight like that. If I got $1,000 after paying all expenses, that's one of them weeks where I may not be able to pay myself, right? I may not be able to pay myself. $1,000 to me is not enough to pay myself. That's a failed week. So to answer your question, your situation may be different. So if you got, let's say, $1,500 left and you want to cash flow your business $500, then yeah, you can break it up in thirds. You can pay yourself 30% or 33% in that case. That way, you got money for cash flow, and at the end of the year, you're gonna have you a little tax fund so that when you do have to pay your taxes. Now, let me tell you this too: your first 3 years, you shouldn't be paying no taxes. Your first 3 years, you shouldn't pay no taxes. If someone's coaching you to pay taxes your first 3 years, they coaching you wrong. You need to figure out every single angle you need to do to not pay taxes, right? Because the IRS is allowing you these 3 years to build your business, right? So if you have an exceptional first year in business and you're cash flow positive, before the end of the year, you need to sit down around maybe October, November. You need to sit down with your tax accountant and say, look, man, we cash flow heavy. I got 3 years, right? So what do I need to do? All right. And then your accountant will be able to advise you. Do you need this? Do you need that? Does the business need this? Are you looking to scale? What are you looking to do? Before the end of the year, you need to start spending that money. You shouldn't be paying taxes the first 3 years. You want to take advantage of every single opportunity you can to save money. So those first 3 years, the government is allowing you to build, scale, go through the learning curve, fail, figure things out. If you're one of the lucky people who can get it off the bat, you still want to operate at a loss. Now, that's something I haven't really talked about because I just haven't gotten to that point. I just don't feel like, the way the audience, I deal with situations based on what the audience brings to me. I don't think people are to that point yet. And that's something that you need to talk with your accountant about. I haven't seen anybody that just has an overabundance of money that they need to figure things out. I remember one year I went out and leased a car. All right. And that was my 3rd year legally in business. That 3rd year I went out and leased a car. And that was at the advice of my accountant. And that depreciation was able to save me that last year for me to go exempt and operate at a loss, because I was able to lease the car and then he wrote it off. So that kind of helped me go over. And I leased it at the end of the year. So I know that was a long-winded answer, but there's a lot of ways to answer that question. So Miguel, if this is your first year, you do want to pay yourself at least a third. And that all depends on what you're bringing in. If you're not making enough, then you can't pay yourself. And I'm going to start telling people that too, because people go back and watch the old content and then they bring in $1,000 and they think they're entitled to $333 of that. And that may not be the case. If you worked all week and you paid off everything, and after paying off everything, you spent $4,000 and you only got $1,000 left to your name, man, you got to make that decision. It's either the business or part of you and part the business, or nothing to you in the business. Me, $1,000 I go into the business. I need money to cash flow. So that's one of those answers I can answer it a multitude of different ways, man. A multitude of different ways. So then a third of what's left goes back into the LLC, right? So when you talk about a third of what's left, that's cash flow. You want to cash flow the business before you pay yourself. You always want to make sure the business can sustain before you pay yourself. Because the moment the business can sustain, that's the moment you're done. You got to put the business before you. So it goes back to that example. $5,000, you got $1,500 left. Now you got a decision to make. How much cash flow, how much reserve do you have in your business bank account already? Do you feel like you got a big enough nest egg already that, you can pay yourself a third, let's say $500 that week? If you don't, then that may be one of those weeks you may not be able to pay yourself. If you do got a little nest egg in there and you've already been cash flowing and things are kind of steady, you running at a $5,000 a week gross, you got money left over after you pay everything, you got about $1,500, you've been paying yourself $500 consistently, then pay yourself $500. Put $1,000 into cash flow. And keep in mind that a third of that, may have to go to taxes depending on how long you've been in business. So that's how I would do it. If I was operating without an accountant, that's how I would keep things shaped up. But then once again, I've always had an accountant. So, if you have $200, $250 a month where you can pay an accountant, probably be a little bit less for a person who's a single owner operator. Maybe let's say $100, $125 a month. Let your accountant handle all of that. So that way at the end of the year, you don't have to worry about shit like this. Your accountant's taking care of your quarterlies every year, every 3 months. He's sending you your quarterly paperwork. He's going to tell you what's coming out. So every 3 months, your quarterlies come out. Boom, this is how much coming out. Make sure you got this much in your account. At the end of the year, your taxes is pretty much prepared already. He's keeping account of what's coming in, what's going out. He knows, boom, you need to start spending money. So I can answer that question a lot of different ways, man. I can answer that question a lot of different ways. And I know we're coming up to this time of year again, because this is when I started getting the tax questions last year. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this tax shit, because this is where everybody gets into a jam at. And I kind of learned from last year how to answer this question and how not to answer this question, because a lot of people this year, throughout this year, ain't been keeping in mind about taxes. And we at this time of year again. So like I said last year, and what I'm going to continue to say, just pay somebody to do your taxes. Because most of you people that are new into business, especially after doing this testimonial series, are robbing from the business. We've seen a lot of people come up on testimonials and just not have the working capital. We've seen people come up on testimonials that were profitable and don't have working capital. Where the money go? I don't know. So now here we are at the end of the year, and taxes is coming up in 3 months. And now everybody's starting to worry about taxes. So when this time tax season come around, based on the knowledge that I have gained for a year and a half of being on YouTube, just dealing with novice business owners, just hire an accountant, man. Add that to your fixed costs. Let them manage your books. Let an accountant manage your books. Let an accountant manage your books. Speak with an accountant and let them analyze what you have coming in, so that they can give you a clear-cut idea of what you should or shouldn't be paying yourself. Because they're going to be able to see further down the line when it comes to this time of the year, when everybody gets to worry about taxes. So what type of freight would be good to move in a cargo van? Office supplies, e-commerce. Office supplies, e-commerce. Small parcel. Office supplies, small parcel, e-commerce. Where can you rent cargo vans from? Penske, Enterprise, Ryder. Mark, if I finance a car, can I put it on a new down the line, bro? Mark, if I finance the car, can I put it on a new down the line, bro? I don't know what you mean. If you ask me if you finance a car, can you put it on your business? First of all, if you getting a car, I wouldn't finance it. If you getting it under your business, I would lease it. Stop listening to these rappers, man. These rappers gonna mess you up every time. And half of these rappers, these cars they have are leased. They're not bought. All right, you get a car. If this is what you're asking me, if you get a car for under your business, don't finance it, lease it. Listen, Mark, I don't know what it's like to purchase a luxury car. I only know what it's like to lease it. And I don't even know what it's like to lease it under Mark. Every single luxury vehicle has always been under the business. I've never acquired a luxury vehicle under my name. All leases. All leases. Writing off the lease, writing off the fuel, all that, depreciation, all that. Not the mileage, but the lease agreement, the fuel, right? Because it's a company vehicle, so the company is paying for the fuel. Whatever comes with the lease that you got to pay for, which 9 times out of 10, I've never had to pay for any maintenance under a lease. You lease it, and you're done with it. You want to lease something else in 3 years, you go lease something else. I've never financed a car under a business. To me, that don't even make sense. To me, it don't even make sense. If that's what you're asking, because the words, Mark, if I finance a car, can I put it on a new down the line? I don't know. So if you're asking for a business, I would lease it under the business. I wouldn't finance it. Mark, if I finance a car and I put it on an LLC down the like for the business. Yeah, you can listen, don't finance a car under your business. Lease it. Lease it. Don't finance it. Lease it. Lease it. Don't finance it. Lease it. How much do you think would be a good budget for a van? It all depends on the van. It all depends on the van. I think if you're getting, let's say, a 1500 or let's say a T150, I wouldn't spend no more than 20. If you're getting like a T250 high roof extended right now on the low end, you probably gonna be spending somewhere around 28 on the somewhere between 28 to 40. So it all depends on what your budget is. If you have a small budget, then you may be looking at a 1500. If you got a little money to play with, then I would go to the 2500, the T250 extended length high roof. How do you become a member of Members Only? You got to do it from your desktop. Just go to the home page and hit join, or from an Android, hit join. You can't do it from an iPhone. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hi, Mark. I watched your cut with Natasha. I think it's your finest if have so much information for business owners, either for van, box trucks. Thanks, man. Yeah, so that little situation with Natasha, that happened like a week or two ago. I was on the cusp of cutting it out and putting it out as a video on its own, but shit, it's already out there anyway in long form content. I thought it would be educational or teachable for more people to see that, and it did get a good response. A lot of people commented on it, and yeah, I think that was good. I think it was good content because a lot of people like her didn't know what she was getting into, even though I told her. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, I don't know everything about everything, but I know a lot from my experience on what I've done. And that's something that I've done for many years and was extremely successful at it, to be able to tell her and give her the blueprint. And she did the complete opposite. And her expectations were different than what I told her. So it's good that other people are starting to see. I think one person said, man, I'm glad I saw this, because now my mindset has shifted, because I think that person thought it would be simple too. It's not simple. You running a carrier route, you're going to get a lot of stops. You're going to get a lot of pieces, and it's doable. So yeah, it's all good, man. I'm going to start cutting out more things that, that may happen in some of the live streams towards the end that people may not get all the way through, and just putting them out as video content. Boy said the game, the business, same difference, man. No, it ain't. It ain't the same difference. I hear what you're saying, and trust me, I know what you're saying, because I say it too. But listen, when you talk in business, you got to present yourself as a business person, right? So when I present content, I don't say the game. And when people say the game, I correct them, right? Because guess what? Even though I may be talking to a specific niche of people now, when I was moving and shaking through them rooms, the people that I had to do business with, they didn't look like me. They didn't come from the environment that I came from. So I couldn't go into a 3PL company and say, like, man, yeah, I'm here to apply for this. You underdig what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, no, I don't see what you're saying. Man, I'm trying to get into the box truck game. I want to apply, man, for the box truck game. They gonna look at me like I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna present myself like a business owner. So when I see people saying that, I correct them, because you're eventually gonna get out here and you're gonna have to start mixing and mingling and talking to different people. And these people ain't gonna come from the same background as you, right? So you're gonna have to transition your verbiage into, you're gonna have to transition the verbiage you use is gonna have to transition to something that's a little bit more professional. And that's just a part of coaching and mentoring. Like, for me to sit up here and let you continuously say the game, and this ain't a game, it's a business, then what type of person would I be? So no, I'm gonna correct you. And it's not the same. It's not the same. Business is business. Game is a game. I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, when you're a business owner, you have to present yourself as such, man, as such. Because once again, you're gonna start mingling and moving and shaking with people who don't come from the same background as you, and they're not gonna understand what the hell you talking about. They not. So Harry keeps asking me why I think I answered that. More and more, how's everything? I hope you had a great Christmas. Hopped on to see what jewels you drop in. Hence, no. Well, I'm just answering questions today. No jewels. Well, I guess there may be jewels to some people. What's the difference from a partial and a full load? A full load is one pick, one drop. You go to one dock, you pick up a load. It may not even be a truckload. And then you drive somewhere and you drop it off. Partial is you're maximizing every square foot of your truck, all right? And you're trying to maximize your rate, right? So instead of doing one pick, one drop, you may go here, you may utilize 10 feet of your truck, and this is going to be all on the same route. So let's say you're going from Chicago to Texas, and you're trying to parcel your truck out to maximize your earning. You may pick up a load here that may be 10 feet, and it's going to pay you an X amount. You may pick up a load here. It may just be a pallet. You may pick up a load there. That may be 5 feet. You may pick up a load here, and there's another set of feet. And it's all going in that same direction. But now what you're doing is you've maximized your rate. You've maximized your rate. So you're making more money going in that same direction, right? You're doing more work, right? Because you're having to do more stops and more drops, but you're maximizing your earnings. So that's the difference between partial. You're selling partial feet of your truck to different brokers versus going to this warehouse, picking up a full truckload and driving it, picking up a full truckload, so let's say in Chicago, driving it all the way to Texas for a certain amount. So for a certain amount, you may be able to do 3 or 4 partials going in that same direction and double your earning. So it requires more work. A lot of people don't know how to do it. A lot of people complain about it. I've seen one person on YouTube, which is Kurt, do it successfully. But yeah, that's the difference between partial and full load. It's basically what it sounds like. Full truckload, one full load, partial loads, partials. You're partialing off your truck. You're selling space on your truck. You're selling square footage on your truck, going in a particular route. I say that because I've taken partial loads I felt that were full loads, but they were called partial loads. So here's the thing. If you, let's say you take 15 feet of space that they're considering a partial, right? Because it is a partial to a semi truck. And it's partial to a box truck as well, a 26 footer. But because what are the odds you're going to be able to find something taking up, let's say, that much space going in a certain direction, and you only got 9 more feet of space? So to you, it was a full load because you might have looked at your truck and you might have been like, damn, I can't find nothing else that maybe a pallet here, a pallet there. So it ended up just being a full load for you. So it's a technique to parceling. You know what I'm saying? And that's not something I've ever done. So that's something you got to talk to Kirk about as far as the mastering it. But to answer the first part of your question, as the difference, it's a full truckload. Simple. It is what it sounds like. It's a full truckload. Partials. Different loads going in the same specific direction. You're just selling feet. You know what I'm saying? It is what it sounds like. Don't make stuff more difficult than what it sounds like. Partial. It's partial. But if you want to master it, talk to Kurt. I ain't never ran partial. So as far as mastering and all that shit, he's the best person. Now, if you want to know how to carry a refrigerator up 3 flights of stairs, then I can tell you how to do that all day long without injuring your back. Took your advice, Mark, and went van hunting outside of New York. Came up on a low mileage 2005 Chevy Astro van. A Chevy Astro van. A Chevy Astro van? You think that's a Chevy Astro van? So are you doing gig work or are you looking to run with a 3PL? A Chevy Astro van? What you gonna do? Take the seats out of that thing? They ain't made a damn. When the last time they made an Astro van? That's a passenger vehicle. What you gonna do? Take the seats out? Refrigerated box truck? I don't know, bro. I don't know. You gotta talk to this guy that followed the challenge. His name is Isaac. I never ran refrigerated. Shout out to Huna for that super chat. I don't know about refrigerated. Not something I ever did. The one guy that I know who does it, he says he got a contract through the farmer's market. I don't see too many people that know about refrigerated box truck. Matter of fact, somebody asked in one of my comments the other day about a refrigerated box truck. It might have been you. And before I got a chance to respond, Kirk responded. He said no. Saying no, get a dry box. So I don't know. I know a guy who does it. He got an account with the farmer's market, but I don't see too many people talking about refrigerated box trucks. I don't see too many owner operators talking about it. I would know, never done it. It's not a part of the business I'm well versed on, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Do I need to get crazy monthly insurance to run a box truck and cargo van? Paying over $1,000 plus monthly makes it seem worthless. Listen, if you get a 26-foot box truck, 9 times out of 10, your insurance is going to be over $1,000 a month. There's cases where some people don't pay that much. A lot of single owner operators that I know that are paying a little bit less, slightly less than $1,000 a month. These are gentlemen that are older gentlemen. In their 50s, may live in a state where maybe taxes aren't that high, may live way out in the country. They're not in a really high populated city. So these are all factors. But more times than not, if you run in a 26-foot box truck, your insurance is going to be over $1,000 a month. And that's just a fact. Now, on the cargo van side, no, you can get a cargo van for a little less than $1,000. Your average cargo van owner operator contractor is paying right around the $700, $750 a month mark. Now, making it worth it, I think $1,000, $1,500 a month for a 26-foot box truck insurance, I think that's the average rate. $1,000, let's say $1,000, let's put you right at $1,000. $1,000 ain't shit. That ain't nothing, man. To be honest with you. So let's put you at that minimum number you talking about, $1,000. That ain't shit. If you working, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing but $250 a week. You gotta work. So what a lot of people don't talk about as far as content, from what I've seen, is the expenses and the margins. And I've been talking about the margins since day one. The margins are small. Margins are small. And there's a lot of uncertainty. So your insurance rate, here's the thing. For years, your insurance will go down. Over the past 2 years, insurance has gone up. And you could run a squeaky clean year with no incidentals. And your insurance still went up. So $1,000 to me ain't nothing. You running a box truck, a 26-footer, ain't number $250 a week. So it's worth it. I just think you have a wrong. I think you have the wrong idea of what it costs to run this business. If you're saying that you thinking over $1,000 plus monthly makes it seem worthless, I think you got the wrong idea. If you listen to the example that I gave a few segments ago about the taxes, those numbers, I didn't pull them out of my ass. That $5,000 gross and that $1,500 after fixed and variable expenses, that's about the average. Those are real numbers based on an average. That's what people are left with pretty much. A person that's running hard, they may be left with about $1,500 to $2,000 for the week, and they still got to pay themselves from that and still cash flow the business. There's no 70% profit margins in this business of trucking. You find me a person that's making 70%. You find me, and he can own his truck outright. That shit don't exist. A large portion of the money that you bring in is going to go to cost. The newer the truck, the higher your expenses, your insurance rather. $1,000 ain't nothing for insurance for a box truck. It's people that listen. It's people that's wishing they had $1,000 a month insurance. It's people in this chat right now, in this live stream right now, that wish their insurance was $1,000 a month, and that's a fact. All right, did I say? I didn't see that. Sorry, Huna super chat. Is there work in Final Mile for people with clearance? What do you mean clearance? You talking about like immigration clearance? What type of clearance you talking about? You talking about like immigration clearance? If that's what you're talking about, yeah, as long as you got a work permit and you legal to work here, then yeah. Matter of fact, a lot of the people that are working in Final Mile have migrated here because the people that come to my house when I order stuff don't speak English. Maybe the head guy speak broken English, but the other two guys on the truck, they don't speak a lick of English. So if that's what you asking me, then yeah. If not, then just resubmit your question. When I see it come up, I'll pull you up. Thank you for that super chat. No, sir, my homie drives for an operator. The operator is losing a contract. My homie isn't the contract. He's just a driver. Sorry, I wasn't clear. So if it's available, are you already in that 3PL? If you're not in that 3PL, then you still got to go through the onboarding. And if he loses it, then 9 times out of 10, that contract is going to go to somebody else that's in there already, or whoever's next in line to go through the onboarding process. If you're already in there, then yeah, you can vouch for it. But if he's about to lose it, then 9 times out, then that shit still has to get covered. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be covered from with someone that's already in there, or whoever's going through the onboarding process that's being pulled in at that very moment when they terminate him. Because that onboarding process takes some time. And if you haven't started the onboarding process, that could take up to 30 days. Hey, Mark, did you hear about the guy who owes thousands of dollars for a box truck tow? Nah, send me that. Send me that to my DM or to my email. Back at it. What up? What up, Mark? My cousin and I are getting ready to enter the trucking business and want to know your thoughts on starting off with a 16-foot box truck and then scale to it'll work depending on your market. If you're in a market that's a populated market where you can go to like a Capstone or a T-Force or a Watco that has an office supply contract, or let's say like a medical supply contract, preferably an office supply contract, then you can do bulk office supply delivery in a 16-footer all day long and make a decent amount of money, at least $300 to $400 a day. If you're not in that type of market, it may be hard for you to source opportunity for a 16-foot box truck. I call the 16-footer today is like the middle child. It's just, it just doesn't get the attention like the middle child. You know what I'm saying? It's too much truck for what a lot of the gig and small parcel contracts are looking for, and then it's not enough truck for what the 26-foot contract companies are looking for. It's stuck in the middle. So the only thing that you can do is pretty much office supply, medical supply. Now you can apply with AIT. AIT, they have which used to be Select. They got like Bye Bye Baby, Crate and Barrel, West Elm, Dick's Sporting Goods, stuff like that. They'll take 16-footers all day long, but they don't pay as well as some of the other companies. So you need to look into your market and see, you know, what your market has to offer. If you live in a decent market, Texas or Houston, I should say, maybe Dallas, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, I would try to go office supply with a 16-footer. Hey, Mark, would you trade in your pickup truck for a cargo van to start your business? Definitely. Cargo van is going to give you more capacity than a pickup truck, and it's also going to, you know, shield your freight. There's only so much you can do because there's only, first of all, no 3PL is going to accept a pickup truck. So you get a cargo van, you can utilize that as your personal vehicle as well as your work vehicle. It's going to give you more options to make money. So yeah, that's a no-brainer. It's all good. Yeah, I know that was a long-winded answer, but I don't want you to, as far as those taxes, I don't want you to, there's a lot of variables to taxes, a lot of variables, right? So I think it's best to just hire an accountant. But if you're going to do it yourself, then yeah, I would go with that formula. The one that I gave earlier this year, the third formula. If you were doing partial, have 3 line up. But listen, talk to Kirk. Talk to Kirk. I'm not going to get into, do I understand that lane? Yes. Do I understand it to the point where I feel confident telling people how to maneuver around it? No, because I've never done it. Do I think if I went out today and bought a 26-foot truck and did partials, would I be successful? 100%. But by not doing it, I'm not going to sit up here and advise people on how to do it because I've never done it. So I'm not going to do that because I don't want people to start asking me questions and then I get caught in the trick bag and be looking crazy and shit. So no, I wouldn't. I'm not going. I can't. I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm not going to answer these partial questions as far as specifics on strategy is concerned. Basic questions, yeah. Strategy, no. Shout out to Spoken, appreciate you. William said the Astro van is legendary. Definitely legendary. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what made you decide to get an Astro van. So when you do partials, you basically fill up your truck but drop them off. No, it's different pickups too. So it's different pickups and different drop-offs. So it's multiple pickups and multiple drop-offs. It's not one pickup and multiple drop-offs. If you're doing 4 pickups, you're doing 4 drop-offs. So if you're looking at a map and you're going in a straight line, let's say from Chicago to Houston, you're trying to route yourself going down to Houston, picking stuff up, and then when you're getting down to that Texas area, dropping stuff off. And then you got to keep in mind you in a 26-foot box truck. So you kind of want to do it so that you're not unloading the truck and trying to move shit around. You kind of want to do it in a straight line. So I think that's where a lot of people find difficulty at. So no, it's not one pickup, multitude of drop-offs. It's a multitude of pickups and a multitude of drop-offs. The only seats in the Astro van are the front ones. It's the cargo version. Okay. I'm sure I can do gig work with it, but with 3PL companies like Capstone, not even consider, like that's something I can't answer. You know why? Man, I ain't seen an Astro van in years, man. You know, so they might take one. You know, Astro vans I would see Astro vans pull up in 3PLs, you know, 10, 11 years ago. But they weren't that far removed from circulation, man. Like, shit. What's the last year they made an Astro van? 2005 was the last Astro van. It ran from 85 to 2005. It's almost 2025. So I ain't seen an Astro van in years, man. So I don't know. That's not something I would be able to ask. That van is going on 20 years old. It's an 18-year-old van. So some of these companies, some of these gig companies won't even accept that van. GoShare won't accept it. GoShare got a 15-year minimum. Your vehicle got to be within 15 years. So now, as far as some of these 3PLs have a minimum as well. They don't want the vehicle to be too old. So you would have to check with them. But I don't know. That's a the Astro van is legendary. Back in the day, that's what all the dope boys had. Back in the late 80s, going through the early 90s, the Astro van was the hit. This is before people got into the SUVs. Why I decided to go with the Astro van? Only has 100,000 miles on it. Got selling it for $3K, and it's cheap entry into this business. I'm good with maintenance, so I know what to look out. Damn, $3K for a 2005? Man, I think that's still a lot, bro. I wouldn't want to spend no more than 20, 25, maybe 225, but you in New York. But you said it's outside of New York. 3,000. That's a few more thousands. I don't know. I mean, if that's what you feel, here's what I would recommend you do before you go buy that Astro van. I would start inquiring with the gig apps, and I would start inquiring with the 3PLs to see if they have a year cutoff. Let's say they say, we don't accept vehicles that's older than 15 years. You need to start doing that first before you go buy this piece of equipment, and then you start applying it and they telling you it's too old. So do that first, and then once you do that and do your research, then make your decision based on that. Pippi, I'm going to put my email in the chat for you. Rather get the Astro than a $30,000 Mercedes to do gig work. I mean, you can get a $15,000 1500 to do the gig work, and you can still use that for the 3PL. Now, and I see June Gotti telling you one thing, but here's the thing: some gig apps won't even accept that. Like GoShare is not accepting a 2005. They're not accepting anything older than 15 years. Kirk does partials. Yeah, so you need to find the work, bro. I would find the work first before I purchase that 2005. That's just an old piece of equipment, and it's just not. Yeah, it's not too much of the van, because T-Force may accept it. T-Force, let's say T-Force accepts it, then you good to go. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these companies aren't accepting something that old nowadays. Salesman. So that's something you want to do the research first with. And like we can, let me see. Let me see. All right, does my vehicle qualify? Let me see. Give me 1 second. All right, so I guess they changed their policy. So with GoShare, because when I applied a couple years ago, it was 15 years. But now they've changed their policy, probably to bring more people on because they got more work. All right. So vehicles must have a model year of 2001 or newer. So this is an insurance requirement. We are not able to make exceptions even for excellently maintained vehicles. So for GoShare, you good. So for GoShare, you good. And then to somebody asked me about salvage titles the other day. They don't accept salvage titles, and that's kind of what I was unsure about that. You know what I'm saying? But here you got a gig app that they letting you know they don't accept salvage titles. So to whoever that was the other day that asked me about salvage titles, me personally, I wouldn't buy a vehicle with a salvage title, but there's your answer for that. What state do you think would be the best to do moving? I think any state you can start a moving company. People are moving now. As far as your volume of moves, that's gonna all depend. Like obviously, if you're in New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, places like that, if you're in a rural, area, then probably not so likely. If you're in a high populated area, then it's more likely that you're going to see more success. Um, Moving is very competitive as well. So I don't think it's more the state. I think it's more of the city that you're operating out of. So if you're in a state and you're way out in no man's land, you may want to consider moving your business to whatever the nearest major city is, because you got a 6-month window depending on where you're at too. If you're up in the north or in the northeast, then moving season is from April to the end of September. That's when you're gonna make your most money, and then it kind of dies down and it really gets dead in the wintertime. So that all depends on your market and where you're at. So not so much state, because I'm in Chicago, but if I start to open a moving company, let's say downstate, and let's say not like a real rural town, but let's say like another little small city downstate like Springfield or Peoria, I'm not gonna see the success down there that I see up here in Chicago. Population is way less. You got more homeowners down there. You got less businesses. You got people down there that are homeowners that have been living in those homes for a long period of time and they ain't moving. So it depends on the market, So moving, I think, is best to do it in a busy populated city. We've done moves for people that live downstate because there weren't moving companies down there to move them up here. Had to go down there to move them up here. There have been people that live downstate that need to move from downstate to another part of downstate because it's just not that many options down there. I've turned all those moves away throughout the years because it just didn't make sense. But, just based on the experience of receiving those calls, it's just best to start a moving company, I think, in a high populated city because you're going to make so much money depending on where you live. If you live in the north between April and September, that it don't even matter that those other 5 or 6 months are slow. You're going to make so much money between April and September, you can literally take those days off if you want, those months off. It's just like landscaping. So it's not really so much the state, it's the city. You want to start in a high populated city that's dense. I'm not familiar with GLS On Track. Their bidding is strange to me because they make you do it by zip codes. I've looked at a lot of their bids. I've analyzed a lot of like their bid offers. It's strange and it's competitive too. You know what I'm saying over there. If I were getting into the business now, that probably wouldn't be my first option. That wouldn't be my first option. Like to make money over there, you got to have a multitude of vehicles. Your margin is going to be really, really extremely low because you're bidding against other people for those zip codes. So I've looked at it. I'm not familiar with GLS On Track. I'm not too fond of it either, to be honest with you. The more I look into it, the more I look at these bids, I'm not really too fond of it. To come on the app, yeah, if you got to do a background check. So there's no if, ands, maybes, exceptions. They don't want you dealing with people unless you've been background checked. So yeah, background check is their protocol. Everybody got to do it. Do you ever frequently make it out of the slump and prop? I don't award anybody free coaching sessions. People that book coaching sessions on my website, they pay for them. The free coaching session you're going to get is like when you catch me on something like this where I say free coaching and I answer people's questions. Like if you like Natasha, somebody that I spent time with online, that was coaching for her. But I didn't award her that. She was in a situation and she hit the link. A lot of people ain't finna hit that link. You hit that link, yeah, I'll give you a free coaching session because it's going to turn into content. And if you know how that go when you get in that circle. A lot of people don't want to hit that link. You'll get a free coaching session, you hit that link. And you come on up here and you stand in that circle. But as far as making it out the slump before being profitable, most of the people who do pay for a coaching session, for the most part, I've been able to turn their business around. Like some people you lose contact with. Some people are too far gone when they book that session. I've had to tell people, man, you too far gone. So to answer that question fairly, I've had people that I've told that, you too far gone. You waited too late to come to me. You see what I'm saying? I've not had anybody that's come to a coaching session that has come back to me and told me they failed. You know what I'm saying? No. Especially the ones that come in at the beginning, no. If they listen, no. So now you got some people like James, Natasha, and a few others that we've seen that were documented that I've told what to do and they did the opposite. Now, you can use those for your case study and say those people weren't profitable, yeah. But that's because they didn't listen. So a couple years ago, I applied for GoShip, and that's what they said when I applied a year or two ago. So I think they haven't updated their website. So their website, I think, is outdated. I think their compliance when you're going through the app, to onboarding through the app, I think that's what's more up to date. So, because that's what I got 15 years too. He said only if he's in there already, they will let him work with it. And that's what I figured. I think 2005 is, at this point, is too old to go through the onboarding process with most of these companies. It's just an older piece of equipment, and the 3PLs know just as well as I do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of owner-operators don't maintain their vehicles well. And that's just the truth, man. And that's just something that I've uncovered just from talking to a multitude of owner-operators. People hear things, and I get why, but, at the end of the day, that's just not the responsible thing to do. Owner-operators got a vehicle, they hear a noise, they know if they take it in, it's something that's got to get fixed. Like I know when you take a truck into the truck repair place, 9.5 times out of 10, even if it's a simple fix, you're not getting the vehicle back that day. So that person is thinking about how many days they're going to be down for, and then they run the truck until, it breaks down on them or something happens to the point where they have to take it in. These 3PLs know the older the truck, the more, more mechanic, problems that the vehicle is going to have. And they know a lot of these, like, owner-operators just aren't responsible. So they want newer vehicles for that reason. Can't say I blame them, because just from talking to people every day, a lot of people just don't keep up with their vehicles. So if you need help or advice, hit the link. Very hard to find someone that's knowledgeable to share their knowledge, not to mention the time. Yeah, I'll drop it before I get out of here if somebody want a free one. Because back at it, keep asking that same question. So I think he hinting at something. So go ahead and hit that link, man, before I get out of here. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. There go the link. If you asking, there go the link. All right, so Marquis says he's in Denver. You're in Denver, Colorado. You asked about the moving, right? Now, here's what I do know about Denver. A lot of people are moving to Denver. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. Not to say that something's wrong with Denver, but I don't know why people moving to Denver. Is it because of the weed is legal or something? I don't know. But over the years, I've seen a trend of people moving to Denver. Now, that's something that you could look into. So if you're going to start a moving company in Denver, you need to look at and analyze that market. How many homes are being bought and sold? How many people are moving in Denver? How many people are moving out of Denver? Right? Because once you get licensed, you want to do long distance moves. That's where you're going to really check a nice little amount of money at. So these are all the things that you need to be looking at. You need to be looking at homeowners, how many homes are being sold, how many homes are being purchased, how many people are moving into the market, how many people are moving out of the market. Now, here's one thing about Denver that I know from being a sanctuary city. Denver's a sanctuary city. Y'all getting flooded just like we getting flooded. Y'all got a migrant crisis. How is that going to affect your market? Is that going to be good for your market starting a moving business? Is it going to be bad for your market starting a moving business? So those are things that you need to research prior to starting a moving company in that market. So, you need to do research in Denver. I haven't researched Denver as far as starting a moving company. So I'm just giving you the ideas of what you need to look for in that market. Also, you need to look at the competition. You need to analyze the competition. Another thing you can do is check your prices. All right. Call these moving companies, see what they're charging. Matter of fact, I think, no, he's not in Denver. Yeah. So you need to study your market. To help give you a better idea on if it would be wise to start a moving company in Denver. Now, if you were in like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Houston, I would tell you blind, yeah, go at it. Yeah, you're going to have competition, but I know the opportunity is there. I'm not sure about that opportunity there. I'm not sure. It could work out in your favor being a migrant city. If the federal government, let's say, starts kicking in and starts finding affordable housing and paying for it, it may be a good opportunity to get a contract with the government, moving people in and out. Another thing is, I don't know if Denver is putting people in these hotels. Once this thing is all said and done, all that furniture in all these hotels going to have to get moved up out of there. A lot of these hotels are going to have to revamp, right? So that could be good for the moving industry. It could also be good for the final mile industry. Chicago isn't really too keen on putting people in hotels. We're actually at war right now with Texas. Our mayor finally grew some balls and said enough is enough. So, but that Texas governor, he got so much money. Yeah, we're literally warring right now with Texas. So that's shit that you got to think about. It's a lot of variables you got to think about with starting a moving company, I think, in that market. So, but that migrant crisis, it might work out in your best benefit. I don't know. As far as that market is concerned, off the bat, because it's not that it's a big market, but it's not that big where I can tell you, yeah, go ahead and do it and just focus on your competition, undercut your competition. There's a lot of variables at stake in Denver. What's a 3PL, a third-party logistics company? You need a DOT. If you're gonna run interstate, then yes for the second question. If you're gonna be local, no. Now, if you're in a state that regulates, you're gonna have to get your state regulation. for your cargo van. So I don't know where you're at, but if you're in like Illinois, you're in Texas, I think New York, some of these other states that regulate within the state, you're gonna have to get your state regulation. So the DOT just won't cut it. You're gonna have to get your state regulation too, which is gonna be a lot cheaper than getting an MC, but it's similar to an MC just on a state level. And you won't be able to go out the state. Now, if you're going out the state, then yeah, you gotta get your motor carrier. Now, here's another thing too. If you're registered in that state and you do plan on going outside the state may require you to get their authority as well too. So you got to check with your state. I'm not familiar with all the states as far as a cargo van is concerned, but you do need a DOT. And I'm not concerned with all the states that have their own regulatory office, is what I'm saying. If you are in one of those states, it will be your business to go see if you're in one of those states and get that authority as well. Also, if you're applying for a 3PL and let's say the 3PL requires it, then you got to get it too. Whether you're going in-state or out of state, interstate or intrastate, if they require it, then you got to get it. So you're in New York. I think New York has their own regulatory office. You gotta search it. Does New York have a within the state? Yeah, so New York has their own regulatory department that oversees rate, service, and household good movers. So if you start a moving company, or in your case, like a cargo van parcel company, a motor carrier, you got to go apply with New York as well. So you would go to nydot.gov or www.dot.ny.gov. Simple Google search. So you got to get the New York State Authority too. You got to get the New York. So it's dmv.ny.gov. Right here. See right here, motor carrier information. Yep. What's a 3PL, third party logistics company? I answered that. Mark just picked up a load in your area, headed to VA. All right. So what's up? All right. Nobody gonna hit that link? All right, so guess don't nobody want it then. Unless back at it, because he kept asking me. He may not be here no more. All right, any more questions? What time is it? 2:00. Going once. Jabril said he came in late. Yeah, it was just a Q&A or free coaching. I dropped the link. If anybody wants the free coaching session, they got to hit the link. So they got to hit the link. No, just go back and watch the replay. All right, going once, going twice. I'm outie. See y'all next time. Peace. Oh, you said you got me? So what? You got a question or you coming up or what before I end the live? You got a question or? Yes, no, maybe so. Or you hitting the link. All right. I guess not. All right. Until next time. Peace.